Hi everybody, and welcome to episode number 289 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where I live, where I work, where I knit, sometimes crochet, and get into all kinds of other crafting shenanigans. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. It's a gorgeous day out there. It's bright, it's sunny, and it's cold. Perfect. The wind is minimal. It's probably around, it's a little above freezing, but it's gorgeous out. This is my weather. I love this kind of weather. Love it. Sweater weather, as I'm in here in a t-shirt. Anyway, it's cool weather. It's time for our woolies, and I love it. I'm here for this. So if you're a new viewer, thank you so much for coming by and checking out my channel. I'm so happy to have you here with me. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back again for another week to see what kind of shenanigans I've been up to. I'm so happy to have you here with me week after week. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, and tons of you have not, please do. It helps my teeny tiny channel, and if you also would like, hit the bell notification, like the video, share it if you know someone that might enjoy watching my shenanigans. Comment. I love reading your comments, and I try to reply to each and every one of them. All those good YouTube-y things. Appreciate it so much. So, we're here with another week. How can January be already half over? It is, I don't think I've even told you this yet, have I? It's Saturday the 17th of January, 2026. I don't think I said that yet. Anyway, and I was going to say, and it's a gorgeous day out there. We already talked about this, Karen. Don't be repeating all of these things over and over and over again. Anywho, I've had a good week. I've got a fair bit of knitting done. I don't have a finished object. I've broke my trend. The last 2 weeks I have had finished objects to show you. Not today. Maybe next week. We'll see. I only have 2 works in progress that I'm actively working on right now. I have a third one that's kind of in the wings waiting until something else is finished so I can start that, or continue, or not start working on that one. Continue working on that one. So I've spent a fair bit of time working on my 2 at a time toe up sort of shorty socks, and this I'm using yarn by Hugh Loco, and I made a good amount of progress on here. It's probably at a pretty awkward stage to show you right now. When I saw you last week, I was down here midway through the foot. So I finished the foot, finished the heel or the gusset increasing, done the heel on one sock, and I'm ready to start the heel on the second sock. And then once the second heel is done, then I just have the rest of the leg and the cuff to do. So these are getting close to coming down the home stretch now. So as I mentioned, this is my toe up 2 at a time sort of shorty socks, and I still haven't done the pattern. You guys have probably given up on waiting on that one. It's in the planning stages. I will get it done eventually. But the yarn I'm using, as I mentioned, is by Hugh Loco, and it's one of her one pot yarns. So I'm just digging the tag out of the bottom of my project bag. So it's by Hugh Loco. I bought this several years ago. She had a mystery lot with, I think there was 5 or 6 50-gram skeins of sock yarn, and you didn't get to pick. They were all, I think, the one pot colorways. I guess you can call them a colorway. I think these are kind of like the one-offs, ones that don't have, they're not repeating. I'm trying to put my project back in the bag and talk at the same time. Apparently I can't do those 2 things at one time. So this is on her merino sock base. It's an 80/20 superwash merino nylon blend, and it is a 50-gram skein of yarn. So 50-gram skeins of yarn are perfect for my sorta shorty socks. So I will, once I get the heels done, I will continue knitting in the main color until I completely run out of yarn, and then I'll do the last part, however much more is necessary, I will do in the bare yarn and finish them off. So I will use every last inch of the 50-gram skein of yarn. I think that's one of the really main reasons why I love the 50-gram skeins of yarn. I have no scraps. I use up the entire skein in the pair of socks. The other project I spent a fair bit of time this past week working on was my Musicale shawl pattern, the mystery shawl pattern from Stephen West's mystery shawl knit along from this past October. Still not finished. These things take me a while to do. Even though I'm on the section now where the knitting is very simple and mindless, it's a boatload of stitches. It's a lot of stitches on the needles. Cook Zero today. It's later in the afternoon. It's just past 3 o'clock. Just finally getting a chance to get this done. But my Musicale. So I'm on to clue 4 now. I got clue 3. I don't think I was quite finished. Don't poke your eyeballs out, Karen. I don't think I was quite finished with clue 3 when I saw you last week. But I finished clue 3 and I'm almost, I think, a third done with clue 4. And as you can see from my clue 4, I am doing the simpler garter. It's so hard to show you this when it's still on the needles because my needles aren't long enough. The cable's not long enough, or it is long enough to work with. It's not long enough to easily show you what on earth I'm doing. So as you can see in my project, I opted for the simpler border. I love the look of brioche, and those are the two choices. You can either do a brioche border or a garter stitch border. Brioche, I love the look of it, but for me it is such a slow process. I'm not proficient at all with doing brioche. I have to watch the instructions very carefully, and I have to concentrate really hard on what I'm doing. And because of those things, doing a brioche border on a large shawl would take me forever. Seriously, it would take me forever. So I opted for the easy route, and I'm doing the garter stitch border. There was this part of, I think it was clue 1. Yes, clue 1, that had, you had a choice of either doing brioche or garter. I used the garter stitch on that one. I tried the brioche. I messed it up right from the get-go. So I got annoyed with myself and I switched over to do garter. So I thought where I did garter on in the first clue, I thought, well, just for consistency's sake, I will do garter on the last clue as well. And for me, it'll be easier to do. Not necessarily much quicker, but it'll be easier. So with this border, you can do 1 garter section, you can do 2 or 3 garter sections. I am 3 rows away from finishing the first garter section. And I still have not a lot of yarn left. Like for example, this is what I have of 100 grams. I haven't weighed it, but it's probably around 30 grams left. So what I would kind of like to do, and that's probably the same for each of the colors. I think when I was ready to start Clue 4, I had roughly 40 to 48 grams of each of the colors. And according to the instructions, I should have enough to do the largest border with the three garter sections, and still have enough to do the I-cord bind off. So that is my plan. It's going to take me a little while to do it. As I mentioned, each of the rows are quite long. The stitch count for each row on the first section of, like the first garter section, is nearly 500 stitches. I think it's either 470 odd stitches or 490 something stitches. I'm going by memory, and that's not very trustworthy. So it's close to 500 stitches per row. It takes me a while to get that far. It is simple because you're knitting right now in the garter section, you're knitting every single row. There's a little in-between section between the garter sections. I haven't done one of those yet, so I don't quite know what that will involve. I will find out after I've done 3 more rows. So I have 1 more row of pink to do, and then 2 rows of the green. Then I'm ready to rotate into doing blue for that in-between part. I'm hoping I have it done for next week. I'm not holding my breath because it's a lot of stitches. And then in the second one, you add a bunch of stitches just so that it keeps growing out and it doesn't kind of get, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Just, you have to add stitches to keep it going into the proper crescent shape. So the second batch of the second section of garter has 500 and something stitches on it. And then the third batch have even more stitches. So it's going to take a little while. But it is my focus project for this week. I'm kind of hoping I can finish both my socks and the musicale. I'm not sure if that'll happen. Sorry, I was trying to stifle a yawn there. That's bad form. But I'm hoping to have them both done, but I'm not holding my breath. So that's it for my knitting this week. I do plan on focusing only on those 2 projects for the rest of the week. I've been itching to start something new, but I've been behaving and I have not. I've been drooling over some ideas. But I'm also keeping in mind that Sock Madness is getting close. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Sock Madness now. This will be Sock Madness 20. This will be my 14th year participating in Sock Madness. Can you believe that? I started in year 7. And I've participated every year since then. So 14 years. That's crazy. But anyway, Sock Madness is going to be, we're ramping up for Sock Madness. This is Sock Madness 20. And the registration for Sock Madness is going to open on the 1st of February, and it runs until I think either the 14th or 15th of February. I don't recall. I think it only runs for the first 2 weeks, the registration for the first 2 weeks. There is, Sock Madness has its own Ravelry group page, and all the information is in there. And any upcoming information will all be in that group. I will link the group down below in my little doobly-doo, what you call it, thingy down below. And basically, for those of you who have not participated in Sock Madness before, it is a international speed sock knitting competition. You heard that right. I tell people about this and they look at me like I've sprouted a set of horns, or that I've completely lost my ever-loving little mind. That part might actually be true. I might be losing my mind with participating in Sock Madness for coming up to year 14. But anyway, Sock Madness, it's an international speed sock knitting competition. And as I said, all the information is on Ravel, or will be posted on Ravelry in due time. But in general, what happens is the first 2 weeks in February, you register for the competition. It's free to join. You have to register for it. You have to include your email address, your Ravelry information, a little bit of information about, especially if you're new to knitting, a little bit of information about your sock knitting experience and history and speed and things like that. So you include these pieces of information. Once you've registered and are accepted into the competition, or into the, let me reword that. Once you've successfully registered, that's a simpler way of putting it. Once you've successfully registered, what happens next, after the end cutoff for registration hits, after that there will be a qualifying round pair of socks that have to be knit if you want to continue on in the competition. With that pattern, you have a 2-week window of time from when the pattern is released. You have 2 weeks to complete the pair of socks to the exact specifications that are required. So each pattern that we knit in the competition, there's going to be specific things that have to be done. You typically have to do the cuff, the heel, and the toe as the pattern states. You often will have to knit the sock, the foot, to a certain length, or you'll have to do a certain number of repeats of a pattern. And all of this is done so that it kind of evens out the playing field and make sure that everyone is putting in the same amount of work to knitting the pair of socks. More is always fine, less is not fine. So basically what this does is that it allows for individuals that have teeny tiny feet, not me, I have size 10, 11 feet. It allows for, we all have to knit, I think it works out to be roughly a size 9, US size 9, ladies foot size. So frequently the socks that I knit in Sock Madness are too small for me. They don't fit my foot. So you can adjust later to make them longer, or you put them into a gift basket and you give them away or do something else with them. And then that way individuals that have really big feet, maybe not quite that long, but individuals that have large feet don't have to knit several inches more than someone who has teeny tiny feet. And we're all knitting the same amount so that the competition is as fair as possible, so that people that knit a smaller sock don't have an advantage over those that have to knit a larger sock. We all have to knit the same size. You are required to put specific photographs on your Ravelry project page, and submit that information to the moderators of the competition. They will look at the pictures and make sure that you have the correct number of repeats or the correct length or whatever the requirements are. The requirements vary from pattern to pattern and round to round. So they will give you the instructions of what exactly we have to do. So I was going to say, long story short, too late. If you successfully knit the pair of qualifying round socks in the 2-week window, the 2-week time period, and if you knit them to the required specifications, you will qualify to be placed on a team in the actual competition. And then this is where the more speedy version of this comes into play. So once we get people ready to put on teams, the moderators have some magic formula they use. I have no idea. And part of it's based on how you answer the questions in your registration, whether you can knit a pair of socks in 24 hours or if it takes you 2 weeks to knit a pair of socks. And this is only your second pair of socks you've ever knit, or you've knit 500 pair of socks. They use this information to place you on a team. And they try to put people that have a short amount of experience or have a small amount of time or slow knitters on the more beginner-friendly slow knitter teams, up to teams where those that can knit a pair of socks in their sleep and have no excuse me, they have no requirements to, like, childcare, taking care of other people. They don't have to work outside the home for the day. They can knit all day, they can knit all night. A lot of those people will go on to the faster teams. So once you're placed on a team, then they start each of the individual rounds of the competition. And we will get information on approximately when the first round pattern will be released. They will post a notice in the Ravelry group saying that the round 1 pattern will drop anywhere in the next 48 hours. And they will give information on what materials are required. Before the competition begins, the moderators will post in the group, they will post a list of all the supplies we need. And they will label them sock A through whatever. And they will say you need 100 grams of a solid colored yarn, you'll need so many beads, you'll need 5 different contrasting colors. Whatever kind of specs are required for each of the socks, we will get the information about that in advance, and then we can get supplies for that if we don't have a lot of yarn kicking around our home already. But within a 48-hour window, we will get information on what the specs are. So for round 1, they will say the specs are for pattern number or pattern D, and you'll have the information on that, and then the pattern will come out within 48 hours. It might come out 10 minutes later, it might come out 47 hours and 50 minutes later. Who knows? Except the moderators. So once the specs have been released and saying when round 1 will start, that's when you start competing speed-wise against all the members of your team. So in round 1, depending on how many people enter the competition, they will specify saying that, suppose there's 40 people on each team, they might say that the end of round 1, the fastest 35 people out of the 40 on your team will advance to round 2. And then round 2, it might be the fastest 30 or 25 or whatever. They will specify on the team rosters how many people will advance each round. So for when round 1 comes out, you will have, they usually have it set that when the 35 people, if that's what the number is, or 2 weeks have passed. Because occasionally we've gone beyond 2 weeks when there's been some exceptional cases where people have not been able to finish in under 2 weeks. There's been situations. So they've got it now that 35 people or the 2 week period has finished. So we will have each so whatever your position is, if you're the 34th person that gets your socks submitted for your team, you'll move on to the next round. As long as you are within the fastest X number for that round, you will advance to the next round. And then it continues to get smaller and smaller and smaller each round until round 7, they have one person from each team. Typically there's 26 teams of roughly 40 to 45 people per team. So a lot of people enter this competition. It's crazy. It's madness. Anyway, at the end, you will have the fastest person on each team will go head to head to come up with who the champion is or who the top 3 finishers are. I have never come anywhere close to the end. I think I made it to round 5 once or twice. Not often. So not often. But I've probably missed a lot of details and information. You might be more confused than before I started talking about this. All the information is on the Ravelry page. But I'm excited for it. I always thoroughly enjoy Sock Madness. Now I have some yarns that I dyed last year that I still have ready to cast on for socks this year. I will probably dye a few more skeins in preparing for this round or this year's Sock Madness, and start getting as soon as all the spec information comes out, I'm going to start looking through all my goodie collection. We had one year, there's been times where we've had to use buttons. There was one year we actually knit a zipper into our socks. That was one of the craziest things ever. They're actually a really cool pair of socks. I remember I took them up to Manitoba. I was working on them. This is quite a few years. This is more than 10 years ago. And I remember thinking my stepfather was just like, zipper in a pair of socks? It just completely blew his mind. He had never seen anything like that. He just thought that was completely wacky, and it kind of was. But they were a fun pair of socks. I actually quite like that pair. And but the specs will give you information on all of that stuff. So I'm looking forward to once the registration opens. Typically during the registration period, they will release 1 or 2 patterns that they call a warm-up pattern. They're completely optional to do. If you want to do them, cool. If you don't want to do them, cool. I typically try to get as much stuff off my needles before the middle of February so that when the qualifying round pattern drops, that's all I work on. You usually need to have, I usually need to have some quiet time and quiet space to work on Sock Madness socks, because the patterns are not necessarily that simple. They usually get progressively more difficult from the qualifying to the final round. Not necessarily. Sometimes they're all complicated. But they typically do get more difficult as you go through from like qualifying round and round 1 up to round 7. So I'm excited for that. So you're going to hear a lot about Sock Madness. Maybe not in the next 2 weeks. More so once we get into February. And once we get into the middle of February, you'll hear a lot more about Sock Madness. Because I will be hopefully actively participating in it for a good chunk of the competition. Sometimes I get knocked out and eliminated early. Sometimes I last longer. It all depends. It all depends on what the patterns are like. It all depends on what other things I have going on in my life and at home or at work or whatever. There are times when I don't have enough spare time to keep up with them, especially if there's some of the more complicated patterns. But it's all fun. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite time. It probably is one of my favorite times of the year. Other than that, not too much else is new. I went in on Friday morning and had just a regular blood test done with my hematologist to check and see what my hemoglobin and red blood cell count was like. I have an appointment to see her again in April, but I saw her last in October. But she wanted me to come in to see her again in January just to do a quick blood test and see what my levels were. She said if they're stable, we'll see you in April. If they've increased more, we'll get you in sooner to see you again sooner. So I had that done on Friday morning. Got a call back Friday afternoon saying my results were in. The doctor looked at them and she said that they're stable, so see you in April. So that was good. We had our Secret Sister at church. We had a Secret Sister program. We've done it. This is the second year in a row we've done it. And they had, we had our reveal party luncheon today. So that was a lot of fun. There was a small group of us, but it was really nice. So we got a lot of yakking and visiting done. So that was fun. So that's why I'm later getting my taping done today, because I was out gallivanting and whooping it up with some friends this morning. And what else? I've resumed watching Midsummer Murders. I had taken a break from that. It's been a while since I'd watched any of them. So I've got back into that. And I'm liking it. I'm enjoying it. I'm still watching the ones with the original detective. Not John. The original Barnaby. And I think it's at the end of this season where his cousin takes over. One of them is Tom, one of them is John. I think those are the names. Anyway, so where I've taken a bit of a break from it, it's not going to be as jarring when I switch over, or when the main character switches, where I had watched like 12 seasons in a row in I think a relatively short period of time. I was very attached to the main detective. And I thought, it's going to be really hard to transition and watch with a new detective in there. But that won't be the case because I've just started. I'm rewatching season 13. I thought I'd watched part of season 13. I think I'm on the third episode that season now. And I've seen all 3 episodes I've seen before, but I don't remember enough of the details, so I'm rewatching them. I didn't mark them off on my list. I have a Word. I'm weird with things like this. I have a Word file with a list of all the episodes, and I highlight them once I finished watching them. Well, I had nothing highlighted for season 13, but I have seen the first 3 episodes of season 13 I have seen before. So I'll see if I've watched all of them and didn't mark them off for some ridiculous reason. We'll see. But for now, I'm rewatching them because apparently I watched them but didn't cross them off my list. So I'm doing that now, and so I'm able to knit and watch that at the same time. And reading, I am listening to Frida McFadden. Is it The Housewife's Secret? It's the second in not the housewife, the housemaid. It's the second of the 3 books in the housemaid series. And I'm looking forward to it. I want to see the movie. And I'm curious to get the hubby's 2 cents on it because he has not read the book. And I'm curious to see what he says. We'll wait till it probably comes out on video or it's streaming someplace and we can watch it. So it might be a little bit before I get to watch it. But I'm curious to see what his opinion is on the movie where he's not read the book. And what I think of the movie where I have read the book. Because I know what's going to happen. I know what the twists are that are coming. So I'm curious to see what our thoughts are, what each of our thoughts are on those. So that'll be fun. Whenever we get to that, that'll be fun. And other than that, I think that's about it. I should probably get going, get the editing on this done. And hubby and I want to sort through some clothing in the closet. And we did quite a while back, we did that trick where you take all your clothing in the closet and you turn the hangers backwards. So we switched all the hangers so that they were facing out, like the opening was facing outwards. And then they said that after 6 months or a year, when you wear something in your closet, wash it and put it back, you turn the hanger the proper way, or your proper way. For me is where the open part of the hanger faces into the inside of the closet. That might be backwards to other people, doesn't matter. And after 6 months to a year, all the hangers that are still facing the wrong way show you how long it's been since you've last worn that particular item. Well, over half of my side of the closet, we did this 3 or 4 years ago probably. Over half of my closet, the hangers are still over half of the clothes in my closet, the hangers are still facing the wrong way. There's a lot in my closet that I don't wear. Part of them, some of them don't fit, and if I lose weight and by the time they do fit, I'm not going to want them anymore. I'm going to want something new and shiny. So we're going to go through our closets and pull out a bunch of stuff that we don't wear, we don't want anymore, and get that ready to take it out someplace and donate it. Haven't decided where we're taking it yet. That doesn't matter. So we want to get that done. Probably will spend a little while this afternoon getting that done. Work on that when my video is exporting. That'll probably be the best time. So that's our plans for the afternoon. And then we're going to watch this evening. We're going to watch the second video, or the second movie of the This Is Spinal Tap movie. We watched the original, and we saw the original one years ago. And it was playing in the movie theater just down the road from us. So we went and saw that on Thursday evening in the theater. So we're going to watch the sequel to the movie tonight. The reviews of the second movie stink. They say the movie is not good. I'll have my knitting, I don't care. If it's a stinky movie, well, I'll just sit and knit, and the movie will just be a kind of background noise. So that's our plans for this afternoon and evening. Exciting, I know. I live such an exciting life. But other than that, I think that's about it. I should get going, let you go, and I will talk to you again next week. Hopefully I'll have something finished to show you. If not, I'll have progress to show you. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care, and I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.